Hello friends, if you're a contractor, you should know about what personal services business is. This is very important for you. In this video, I'm going to be talking about IT contractors more or IT consultants, but it applies to other contractors as well. So what happens is that if you're a contractor, you would have a relationship with your client. You're not their employee, that is for sure. You're not on their payroll, but you're performing certain assignments or tasks or projects for them. Now what happens is that sometimes individuals or professionals just become a contractor for one reason, that is to save or to enjoy certain tax saving opportunities. So this is something that CRA had identified. People and even employers are coming towards contracting just to dodge and save certain taxes. This actually introduction brings me to the question that what exactly is a PSB, which is Personal Services Business. So in Canada, CRA kind of classifies certain contractors who are actually incorporated, but looking at the way they work, the relationship with their employer and other certain factors, CRA would say that you are in effect an employee of the organization of the client or the employer, and you're just not accepting or taking the status of an employee, but you're taking the status of a contractor. So CRA came up with this term that those people who are in effect, de facto, they are employees, their clients, but they are enjoying the status of a contractor, are to be classified as personal services businesses, PSBs. I'm going to talk about this in detail. So the first thing is, which I just explained, that those people who are de facto employees of their clients, and it's just that they are incorporated. And they incorporated because they wanted to enjoy certain tax benefits. And this scenario applies to a lot of IT contractors. I have a lot of clients who are, for example, working for financial institutions like banks, insurance companies, this and that. They're data guys, they're developers, people who are working on the project management side. They just incorporate and become a contractor for a financial institution. When you talk to them, all the details that they provide, they're almost the same that an employee would have. The difference is that because of their status as a contractor, certain things do not apply on them, and certain taxes and tax regulations do not apply on them. So that's the only difference. As far as the work is concerned, as far as the relationship between the employer or the client and the contractor is concerned, it is almost equivalent or comparable with that of an employee. So that is where the problem comes, and that is where the personal services business clause or classification gets applied to. So now I'm going to go into further detail. So let's say how it is assessed. So first thing in assessment is the relationship between the client and the contractor. This means that CRA is going to assess what's the relationship between the client and the contractor. And when we say relationship, obviously it is a working relationship, it's a business relationship, but you're gonna see, okay, how this contractor is getting paid. This is the relationship between the employer or the client and the contractor. How they're getting paid, where are they performing their duties, the contractor, who decides the schedule, what is the contractor's work environment, what is the contractor's business model. Very important, because at the end of the day, contractor is a business, right? So all these things are brought into question when CRA wants to assess if this person is actually a contractor or this person should be classified as a personal services business. The second thing is over here, CRA is also gonna, the answer that they are going to find is for the question that is this guy an employee of the client or a genuine contractor. So looking at certain things, as I explained in the relationship and certain factors, CRA is gonna decide and classify that person either as a PSB or not. The relationship is the most important thing, And if CRA suspects that this person, contractor, incorporated contractor looks like a PSB, they're going to send him a letter, ask for certain information. And on the basis of those answers and those clarifications, CRA is going to make the decision if this person is a PSB or not. The next thing is, let's talk about the indicators. So for example, you are an IT contractor in Canada. What are the indicators that you should know which kind of make you a personal services business? So the first thing would be that you have one client and you're working for that client for years now, or for the whole year, second year, third year, whatever, long term. Although you're getting paid like not like an employee, but your relationship is long term. So that's the number one indicator that brings you into question. So the second one would be the employer's control. This indicator means that how much control does the client exercise on the individual contractor. So it could be that, hey, you have to come to our office to work. This is a control. Hey, you have to come or work for us between to this time. This is a control. You have to be in our meetings. We can call you into any of our meetings. You have to work 5 days a week. So the more control the client is exercising over the contractor, the more risk of becoming a PSB is there. So you have one client, that's a problem. And then if your client has a lot of control on your activities, working activities, you're definitely having that risk of classifying as a PSB. One more thing, let's say you're using clients' equipment, let's say facilities or equipments, printers or any other that the client has provided to you, which they usually provide to their employees to perform your duties. Effectively, it's good for you. You're not using your own laptop, but you are basically taking the risk of getting classified as a PSB. Then one more thing would be no delegation. You don't have that independence or freedom to delegate your work to a subcontractor or someone else because you are so much under the client's control. If you're not allowed to delegate your work to someone, that's another indicator that you could fall under the category of a PSB. One very important one is financial risk and reward. So as a contractor, for example, if I'm just working with one client for the whole year and I know that I'm going to make $120,000, and let's say the client business grows, I don't care, I just get $120,000. If it goes down, something like that, it doesn't change. Certain things that I couldn't deliver on time or something, there's no risk to my work. I'm pretty stable. Again, with the rewards, the same thing, that if I'm doing good work or if I get an opportunity, I cannot increase the reward or I cannot increase my income in any way because we have decided this and this is what you're gonna get. If you can kind of find those kind of financial indications in this relationship, then you have a good chance that you're going to be identified as a PSB. So one client, so let's say if there is an IT contractor, he's working for a bank and he works according to the bank's instructions and he's using the bank's laptop. He cannot delegate his work to anyone. And he has a certain pattern of payments, pattern of amounts, financial rewards and risk. There is no much risk, but the reward, whatever is decided, is coming every month. Definitely a very good candidate for becoming or classified as a personal services business. So IT contractors, a lot of people, you fall under this thing. If any of my client is watching this video, they know that I talk about this thing with them. So the next thing is, so what happens if you become or if you get classified as a personal services business? What's the effect? What are the disadvantages? The first implication is that you became a contractor. You incorporated yourself and became a contractor to get the tax savings. But if you are classified as a personal services business by CRA, then you're not going to be able to enjoy the small business deduction, which kind of brings your tax down to around 12 to 15%. So if you get classified as a PSB, a personal services business, you are gonna be taxed at around 33-35%. So no tax saving. What's the point? You should have stayed an employee. And the second thing is that if you are a PSB, you won't be able to claim the expenses that normally a business would be able to claim, like advertising and marketing expense. So those kind of expenses that you normally as a contractor you would be able to claim, but after being classified as a PSB, you won't be able to claim those expenses. So these were the two advantages that you wanted to get becoming a contractor, but now since you're classified as a PSB, you won't be able to get either of those. So no advantage anymore. So that is where CRA kind of brings you back and discourages you. And if you get classified as a PSB, then what are you gonna do next? You're gonna quit the contracting and tell your client to hire you as an employee. So the next thing is how to avoid. This is the area, or this is the thing that you've been watching this video for. The first thing is, my friend, multiple clients. So make sure that you are not just working with one client all the times, you have multiple clients. Try to diversify yourself, try to diversify your clientele, the industries, or however you can, but make sure that your revenue is coming from diversified clients. That is the number one check. You saw over here indicator, and this is the answer. Second thing is, so answer to clients control would be over work and activities, right? So you need to have more control your work style, your workplace. So which means that you can set up your own schedule, you're working on your own hours, you have a deliverable, you know what to do, you're gonna deliver that. How are you gonna deliver that? You work in the night, you work in the morning, you work 8 hours, you work 18 hours, it should be all your choice. This is how you can avoid this thing. You might say, hey, how is CRA gonna know about my hours? So this is something that should become a part of your contract, that the client does not have any control over hours that you are gonna work for. But in that contract, the client might say that you will be required to attend certain meetings under a decided time. You should do that as well. It's not that you're always available 9 to 5 anytime. Next thing is own equipment. So you need to be using your own equipment. Think like a business. So when I talk to my clients and now when they ask me about PSB, how to avoid it, I always tell them to don't just think like an employee anymore, think like a business. Even if you're doing project management for your client. So you can have a few smaller startups and provide this service to them. So you gotta think like a business. And when you start thinking like a business, then you will obviously go for multiple clients. Then you would obviously go for more control over your schedule, over your work environment, and obviously you will have your own equipment because you won't be asking for, hey, give me a laptop to work on. Obviously, if they give you the laptop, you are their employee. But if you're buying your own laptops, you're buying your own equipment, so these are the expenses that when CRA says, okay, this guy is buying certain laptop, computers, certain subscription and this and that, that tells that you are a business. But if you're not having any kind of those transactions and just thinking, hey, I'm using bank's laptop and I'm saving money, you're actually risking becoming a PSB. Very important aspect we just discussed. Financial, now the risk again and rewards. So when I tell you to think like a business, act like a business, work like a business, that means now you are taking the risk and the rewards. So if you're not doing something in time, not delivering something in time, you have the risk of losing that opportunity. You could be penalized for that. And those things are written in the contract. For example, if you had 1 month to do a certain project and you finished that in 20 days, maybe there was some reward that you were able to claim. Or maybe in those 10 days, you started another assignment or project with the same client. This is again to the delegation thing. You are responsible for the certain performance of task or certain delivery of project or certain delivery of service. How you manage that, how you get that done, That should be your business model. That should be your decisions and your expertise. Contracts. You must be able to write contracts, read contracts. You must be able to know how to scope your work, how to discuss the payment terms. So similarly, the same thing applies, that in your contracts, you should have these things, or a lot of these things, or a lot of risks covered by virtue of the contract. You should have agreed these things with the client that, hey, I should be able to, there shouldn't be any restriction on use of my own equipment, no restriction on delegation of work, no restriction on hiring subcontractors, no restriction on having multiple clients and this and that. Also, I tell my clients to, let's say, since this is a business, you should do your branding. Have a website. Very important. I'll tell you, when CRA is looking for this kind of a thing, they Google you. Your LinkedIn profile should be there, and it should not look like an employee's LinkedIn profile. And you should have a proper website, one pager or something, but you should have that in which you are telling the world that this is what you are offering. You should have a contact number there, contact email, official email on that website. Try to get a business name for your corporation or your business activity. When you're working with one client, for example, you're working with the bank, they might give you some kind of employee oriented benefits as well, like health insurance. They could provide you certain amount of contribution towards your private health insurance or something. Avoid those kind of things. You don't want to go into those things, because that shows the relationship of an employee and an employer. So I think, guys, this pretty much explains what the PSB is, how this is assessed, what are the indicators, you need to be aware of these, and how to avoid becoming classified as a PSB. And if you get classified, what are the tax implications? So if you have any questions, feel free to write that down in the comment, and I will definitely answer it. I made this presentation from my practical standpoint, the questions or the discussions that I have with my contractor clients. I hope this helped you, and I hope this answered a lot of questions in your mind as well. All right, guys, enjoy your day. I'll see you in another video. Take care. Bye.